Okay, so I have perfected my system, or basically my routine, my weekly schedule for about 2 years now. And this system alone, it got me to 10K per month. And when I first started, I started with absolutely nothing. So if you're watching this right now and you feel like you don't have anything, you can just watch this video and then copy this system. So I will explain to you exactly what I do and why I do it. That allowed me to get to 10K per month. So first I am waking up basically, but I don't set an alarm. Of course, when I was still working a 9 to 5 and when I was building my business, I needed an alarm, but now I don't set an alarm. Sometimes I wake up at 9, sometimes I wake up at 10, sometimes even 11, because I prioritize my sleep. Because if I needed to choose between 1 hour of work and 1 hour of sleep, I would choose 1 hour of sleep every single day. And because that 1 hour of sleep, it improves my productivity for all of my waking hours for the rest of the day. So yeah, like I don't set an alarm. I just wake up. Sometimes I sleep like 9 hours, 9.5 hours, sometimes 8. It kind of depends how much I need that day. So when I wake up, I start with a 20-minute exercise. 20 minutes. And that exercise is basically Qigong. Now I've watched like I've read a book. Can you see this actually? Yes, you can see this barely. So I've done this qigong exercise for a while now. I've read a book that was basically the Shaolin spirit, and it just resonated with me. And I watched on YouTube from Xi He. He was the writer of this book, a qigong exercise of 20 minutes. It's his most popular video, 12 million views or something like that. But it is amazing because my morning routine used to be way too long. It was also be exercise, but it was like 45 minutes. And then I would sometimes like meditate after. But this one single qigong exercise, it is good for the body, so you do some movement, but it is also good for the mind. After this 20 minutes, I am like ready to go. I'm ready to work. So then immediately after this, what I do is I do a 2 hour work block. 2 hour and then creative. 2 hour creative work block. What do I mean with the creative work? That is basically like the writing posts, for example, or building my offer, making Canva presentations for it, making these videos, like making thumbnails, everything that is basically done offline. um, because these things, they require the most amount of focus and they require the most amount of creativity. And during this time, sometimes I just sit downstairs. I also like drink a glass of water. So in the first 2.5 hours of that I'm awake, 2.5 to 3 hours that I'm awake, I keep my phone in airplane mode. I don't check notifications. And the reason I will tell you about like in a bit. Yes, where do I write this down actually? Okay, I can do it here. So your brain, what you have to understand is your brain, it works in different types of wavelengths. It is the the focused, so the focused, and basically what it looks like is it looks like this. And you have an active. Can you see this? Yes, you can barely see this. And the active, it goes like this. So these two brain waves are always active. But what you need to understand is it takes energy from switching from a focus to an active, and it also takes energy to switch from an active to a focus. So from focus to active it takes energy, and from active to focus it takes energy. And as you already know, like, we need to optimize our energy and our time. And if we just keep switching between those tasks like every single day, you know, then or like multiple times a day, I mean, then we waste a lot of energy. So what we have to do is we have to minimize it. And with the Qigong and the 2 hours of creative work, my brain is in the focus state, because when you wake up, your brain is in this focus state. The worst thing that you can do is then check your phone, check your notifications, because then immediately from a focus state you will go into an active state. That will require energy, you know, and then if you need to go back into the creative work anymore, to do that takes a lot of energy, and then your energy tank is almost like depleted for the whole entire day. So in the first like 2 to 3 hours of my day, I keep my phone in airplane mode. I make sure all of the creative work is done, that all of the mindfulness, like the Qigong stuff, is done, and then basically I'm ready to go. Then and for this, basically what I do is I set a timer. I set a timer of 2 hours, and I just work as long until the timer goes off. I don't worry about the time much. I just, when the timer goes off, I immediately get up, I stop what I'm doing, and I put another timer. And that timer is basically a 1 hour of maintenance. So what this basically means is like the tasks that you just have to do every single day in order to keep things rolling. So the first thing that I do, like my first priority with the maintenance, is like responding to clients, because those of course have my first priority. So right after this 2 hour block, because right now I am in this 2 hour block by the time of filming this video, right after I will check my Telegram to respond to all of my clients, to help them if they have any questions. Then what I will do is I will do the second priority tasks. That is for me, the checking my community to see if there's any new posts, to respond to them. The third thing that I will do is basically I will look at the DMs that people send me on school, and I will respond to them. The fourth thing that I will do is then I will look at all of the notifications to see the people who responded to my post or my comments, and basically like respond to them. And the fifth, if there is still time left in this 1 hour, the rest of the time I spend just engaging, commenting, like expanding my visibility, like expanding my visibility, so I can get more leads, I can get more connections. So here, from this point, you know, like at this point it is still focused, but from here, the 1 hour of maintenance, it is more like active, you know. Then after this, what I do is I take a long walk. In the long walk, basically, because here I've worked like for 3 hours, and sometimes like I like to clear my mind, and then I take a long walk, and after the long walk I eat lunch. So the long walk, sometimes, you know, I do like exercises, because in this park here, very close to my house, there are these pull-up bars and push-up bars, and I do like some calisthenics, so I do some training. After that, like, I eat lunch. So this is like an active. This basically what I do here is again like a bit more, it is not focused, and it is not really active. It is like kind of this rest state, you know, you're giving yourself like a bit of rest. Long walk usually takes 1 hour, lunch 30 minutes, so about with time in between, maybe like 2 hours for this. Then after that I do another another 1 hour of maintenance. And here is again, like I check my Telegram, because like some clients, they might have like responded or have a follow-up question, so I do that. Then again, like the checking the community, then doing the DMs, then doing the engagement, etc. And yeah, basically to respond and to keep all of these conversations going. First, I did it differently. First, I did, instead of 1 hour maintenance here and 1 hour of maintenance here, I did 2 hours of maintenance here. And the long walk I did directly after the creative work, because then my brain was still in the focus state. I can do more mindful walking. But if I have 2 hours of maintenance here, I don't give people on my Telegram, my clients and the my clients and the people in the community, for example, I don't really have a conversation with them, because then it is instead of two blocks, it's one block. So now I give them like 2 hours in between, basically maybe sometimes 3 hours to respond, so they can ask a follow-up questions and I can help them more, basically. So that is with the 1 hour of maintenance. After that, it is basically after this, because at lunch I eat from 2 to 3, somewhere about this. Then from 3 to 4 I do 1 of maintenance, and then at 4 p.m. basically for me, that is when I start the calls. That is because I'm from Europe. If you're from America, then your calls will likely start in the afternoon or even the morning. So here is like where my calls start. And that is basically, I always have 4 calls. And it's pretty much always booked. That's standard. I think on average I have 3.7 calls every single day. So sometimes I don't have 4, but usually I have 4. And these calls could be many different calls. Client calls. It could be calls that I learned from my mentor. It could be like the sales calls. It could be research calls. It could be network calls. So all of these different calls I put from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. basically. So 4 hours. Then after that call, I do like one final 1 hour of maintenance. So yeah, final time I check all of my messages on Telegram, I check my community, etc. After this 1 hour of maintenance, then it is like 9 p.m. Then I eat dinner. After dinner, like sometimes I do like a bit of learning. Learning from recorded calls from my mentor, but also sometimes like book. And then I have like an evening routine. And with the evening routine, that is basically like I do a quick journaling routine where it consists out of 3 parts. The first part is basically the brain dump, like just write down everything that happened with the thoughts, and like where there is a stronger emotion in that time, then I go like a little bit more in depth. Okay, so what did I do? What was the effect? What was my emotions because of it? And then just get clarity on this to give everything like a place. Then the second part is basically the message. What is one lesson or one core message that I want to give myself for the next day, so I don't keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And the third is basically the planning the next day ahead. And then I basically tell what I will do in the creative work and like what calls I am doing specifically. This is basically my ideal, but sometimes it varies a bit, because sometimes I eat with a friend instead of myself, you know. Sometimes I don't do a long walk because I don't have time on that day. Sometimes I go, instead of this 1 hour of maintenance, I go to box training. So it could vary a bit, but this is like my ideal, my average day. And this works perfectly for me, because in the creative block, you know, the things that I do is I do things like the creating YouTube videos, like building an offer. So sometimes I do things for the acquisition right here to get more leads through either through YouTube or from um, or writing school posts, for example. Sometimes I do stuff like the delivery there, so building an offer, anything like that. 1 hour of maintenance is pretty much always the same, and that is basically for also the delivery, you know, helping clients, but also for the acquisition and the conversion. And I found this to be great, because now I have three options where I basically help my clients, so they have like three answers like every single day, you know, if they ask this many questions. And that is how they are getting great results, because I always tell them, you know, like, I want you to ask as many questions as possible, because I've noticed that the ones who ask the most amount of questions tend to get the greatest results, you know. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't have boundaries, because it still needs to be like sustainable for you. So by developing this system, I can help them a lot, but only in these 3 hours. Because like afterwards, if you're going to if you're going to like after the learning, if you're going to do the maintenance, etc., then you will burn yourself out. So I found a way to do this, to make it like really sustainable, to include pretty much everything. You know, I have the qigong here, the long walk here, that is basically the exercise and to take care of my health. Sometimes in the evening I have box training, but that is only like once or twice a week. I basically have I have lunch and the dinner. Lunch I sometimes like eat with friends, you know, because I still have to eat, and I can do that like with friends. So yeah, like the relationships are great as well. And yeah, like I do things like a long walk and like lunch and the qigong and the learning and the evening routine to protect the peace of mind. So even though I work, it is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, wait, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, plus 4 calls is basically like 9 hours. Yes, I work like then 9 hours a day, but that is like effectively, you know, because most people when they go to their 9 to 5, they work 8 hours. And yeah, when they work 8 hours, they only work like 4 hours or 3.5 hours. This is 9 hours of effective work every day, but I still have time in between to take care of my health, my relationships, and my peace of mind. And this, for me, it is very, very sustainable. And also, when we look at back at this, at the focus and the active, you know, like I batch similar tasks. So I batch the creative tasks and I batch the maintenance tasks, and it is like a clear structure every single time. So yeah, like right here is when I am basically in the focus state, you know. Then basically from this point from this point to this point, I'm like in the active state, and then again from this point to this point, I'm again in the focus state, and this is like a little break in between. So I switch from my focus state to my active state. It is like 1 times, 2 times. And because when you're going to sleep, right, after dinner, don't check your phone anymore. Because what will happen is your brain will still stay in an active state. And if you're in an active state, that is not good for sleep. So in the first like 2 hours and in the last like 2 hours, at least 2.5 hours, I don't check my phone, I don't check my notifications, because when you just wake up, you're in a focused state. When you need to sleep, you also need to be in an focused or like a calm state, basically, not in an active state, because then you're not able to sleep anymore. So with this, you know, like every system or every routine is different, but like apply these principles to your situation and basically then experiment. So if you already have a good routine that works for you, then great, then don't change it. Maybe you can apply some of these principles, make a tiny bit of changes. But if you don't have a good system yet, then you can just copy this and then make changes like later on. And this is basically my routine, how I got to 10k per month, and this will be my routine when I get to 50k per month, or maybe like 100k per month. So yeah, I will take you there with me. I will share everything basically from my entire journey. So yeah, thank you for watching, and bye.